Welcome to Ecstatic Yoga. I am Grace for our beautiful hip opener practice, and we're going to be practicing being that kindest, most loving, most gentle place in the entire universe for us to land. So this is a self-love practice. And let's get started. Let's sit in a nice, comfortable position. And just sitting, feeling those sits bones, feeling that earth underneath you, supporting your body, keeping you safe, supported. And bring your awareness to the physical body, just noticing your body is there. Where is it in space? Feeling the feet, the legs, the hips, the pelvic area, the abdomen, the chest, that whole torso, the arms and shoulders and elbows and hands, the neck, the head, present to this beautiful physical body. And how's it feeling today? And moving inward, pratyahara, withdrawing the attention from the external world and bringing the attention into this inner universe. Noticing the energies, maybe the pulsation of the heart. And diving into the emotions that are within. Just acknowledging them without any judgment. No need to change anything. Just noticing where you're at. Present to the self on all levels. And then creating an intention for yourself. Something that you'd like to create, maybe more joy, more peace, a better position at work, whatever it may be for you. And feeling the emotions of that intention fully manifest here and now. And releasing that with a this or better. This or better. Let's open the eyes. We're going to begin our practice in child's pose today. And a nice relaxed child's pose. So opening up the knees a little bit. So you can rest that belly in between the knees. And you can have the hands either on the side or extended out or just bent out, whatever works for you. And take a few moments here. And I want you to contemplate as we rest in child's pose, being that softest, kindest, gentlest place in the entire universe that we are for ourselves. Could even think of the kindest person in your life, maybe your grandparent or a friend or a teacher that was so kind, or a parent, of course. And you will be even gentler, even more loving, even kinder, even softer than that expression of love for yourself. And that means that inner voice as well needs to be the kindest, gentlest voice. So take a few moments in child's pose as you just ponder this being that kindest space in the universe for you. And what would that voice say to you? And let's stretch the arms out. And let's bring them over to one side or the other. Feel a nice stretch in the side body. And let's bring them over to the other side. Bring you back to the center. And let's come up into a table. And let's flow right into up dog as we let those hips sink. You can relax the thighs on the earth. You can lift them up as well. Taking a breath here, couple breaths. Strong arms. We're using the arms to hold us up rather than the back, but creating a nice gentle back bend. And then moving back into child's pose. You don't have to go all the way into it, keeping the arms extended. Whatever feels good for you. I'm going all the way in. Just moving back and forth. A nice little flow as we warm up this spine. Moving into extension in our up dog. And then some flexion in our child's pose. Keeping the breath flowing as we gently open up the body this way. It's a really nice way to warm up that spine. Get ready for our hip openers. And remembering you can make some little spontaneous movements as you go. Rest. Massage a spot that feels good. Doing it with great self-love. Radical love for the self. Honoring the self, forgiving the self, appreciating the self, building the self up. Only saying kind things to the self. Yet being honest with the self. And moving so we're up onto our knees. I'm going to move into a nice little camel pose. Nice back bend again. And take your level wherever you are this at this time. It's the morning for me, so I'm going to put my hands on the small of the back. First thing we're going to do is tuck that tailbone under to open up these vertebrae. The small of the back. Bring the hands to the small of the back. Elbows are together. Chest is open. Opening up that chest. Lifting and bending back into a beautiful camel back bend. Now, if you want to, the hips are over the knees. If you want to deepen it, you can come up onto the toes, or you can just leave the feet relaxed and bring the hands back to the heels, and remembering to bring those hips back forward over the knees. and breathe. Keeping the head in alignment with the spine rather than dropping it. And one more breath here. Let's move back into the child's pose for just a moment. Sending yourself great love. Pouring self-love into your own heart. Appreciation, gratitude, forgiveness. And coming up to seated position. And bringing the soles of the feet together in our beautiful Baddha Konasana. And gently flapping those butterfly wings. Those legs just gently, and you can find your pace. You might start off slow and maybe begin a little faster. I always invite you to imagine that you are a butterfly, just flitting from flower to flower, smelling the beautiful fragrances. And then when you're ready, bringing those legs slower and slower. They come to a stop, and we're going to be pressing those legs and knees down towards the earth as we inhale and extend the spine, lengthen it, elongate it. The head and spine are reaching up to the heavens. So we have two lines of energy simultaneously. And then engage the bandhas, inhaling deeply here. And exhale as you fold forward. And find your edge here. The hips will tell you that's good. And let's engage the bandhas and take a nice deep inhale as we hold this edge. And on the exhale, see if you can hinge just a micro movement deeper in the hips. And then release the hands. You can bring them down to the earth. And you can rest round the spine. Find your comfortable resting position. And feel some sensation in the hips. And let's breathe. One more breath. Great self-love. And coming up. Beautiful, beautiful job. Into a forward fold. We're just opening these hips a little bit. Bring one leg out. One leg is resting on the inner thigh. Inhaling as I lengthen and exhaling, hinge. And you can find that edge, engage the bandhas, take a nice deep inhale before you round your back. And exhale, see if you can hinge a little deeper, and then allow the back to round, bringing the head in towards the leg, and breathe. You can flex and extend that foot for some extra sensation. Really bringing love into these legs, appreciation for these legs. What would we do without them? Be so hard. And then coming up, we'll move to the other side, switching legs. Inhaling, lengthening the spine. Exhaling, hinging forward. Finding that gentle edge there. The back leg muscles will let you know. Nice deep inhale as you engage those bandhas. And on the exhale, hinging a little bit deeper. And then allowing the back to round, the spine to round, coming in towards your leg. And flex and extend the foot. And going inward with great self-love. Maybe some words of appreciation towards yourself. Acknowledging your courage, your kindness, your goodness, your effort. And on the next inhale, coming back up. Good job. We're going to move into Virasana. This is our hero pose. This one is really good with a block. So you can open up the knees and you can just scoot a block between the legs here. And sit down on that block. You can bring the knees a little bit closer. And the legs right along, the feet are right alongside the block. And there you are in your Virasana. It's a really good supportive way to be in your Virasana hero pose. And if you'd like to do it without a block, you can just scoot those buttocks down between the legs. This is the way all the kids sit in India. And even I noticed in schools here in the United States. So it's a great pose. It's a sitting pose. We're going to engage those bandhas, really feel that Mula Bandha. It's right up against the earth, the pelvic floor, and this nice active pelvic floor, and a lift. Uddiyana Bandha in and up, and Jalandhara Bandha. Chin comes in, tongues on the roof of the mouth. You can have a hand mudra. I'm in Haikini. All my finger and thumbs are touching. And breathe. Reflecting on that self-love. Sending yourself love, appreciation, compliments, acknowledgements. And one more breath here. Now there's an option to go into reclined hero. But sometimes it may just be this is your reclined hero. This is a very perfect reclined hero. You feel a nice stretch on those quadriceps. And another option is, this is what I like to do a lot, is to bring those legs up and move them into Baddha Konasana, butterfly, and come down. Bringing the elbows to the earth, and then opening those arms up and gently bringing the back down. If that works for you, or staying up on your elbows or staying up in the pose. And taking a few breaths here. Noticing the different sensations if you're in the pose. You may want to just stay in hero pose or in butterfly. One more breath. And then gently coming up onto the forearms and the elbows, into the hands. And we're going to move into one of my favorites, fire log. So we are going to bring the legs out wide, set up for this beautiful pose. And I'm going to take my left leg and bring it so it's lined up on the long edge of the mat. And we're going to be flexing the feet, so I'm starting to flex them anyways. And then I have my right leg. It doesn't matter what side you're on. The opposite leg, bring up so the ankles and the knees are aligned. Now, see, I've got this flexibility issue here. You can put a cushion or a block if that helps. Some people like that. I just like it to kind of hang. And then flexing those feet. Both feet are flexed. So we're in this. We're going to inhale as we lengthen and exhale, hinging forward a little bit. And find your edge here. We're going to keep the spine straight. And once you get to your edge, simply breathe, noticing sensations, filling yourself with self-love, acknowledgments, kindness, appreciation. Feeling that in your hips. One more breath here. It's a really good hip opener here. And coming back to center. So this is getting a little better when I started the pose. Maybe I keep practicing this in a year, I might get increased flexibility. I'm sure we all will. So we're going to release the legs, bring them back out, and we're going to move to the other side, bending opposite foot and stacking those ankles and knees up. Beautiful. And flexing those feet, nice flex. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, hinging forward. And finding your edge here. And breathe into it. And bond is engaged. And one more nice deep breath. And coming up. And releasing those legs, and let's just kind of flop them around a little bit. Windshield wiper, different kinds of windshield wipers that there are. We're going to come up onto our feet into a squat. So I like to have the feet out a little, heels in a little bit in my squat. And my heels are naturally want to come up off the earth. And so that's okay if your heels are up. If you're able to bring your weight back so the whole foot is on the earth, a little more of a balance. But once you get into it, it's a little more comfortable even. And then you can bring the hands in between the legs, the arms, and pressing the legs out a little bit with that upper arm and elbow, and you can have the hand in front, an Anjali Mudra, engaging those bandhas, the Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, Jalandhara Bandha. And let's bring in the prana and life force. And that radical self-love, that radical forgiveness for ourselves. Being that best friend, that kindest place, that kindest person in our lives for our own selves. One more breath. Beautiful. We're going to hinge forward a little bit, bringing your hands to the earth, and let's come down to the knees. We're going to move right into Mandukkasana. It's the frog pose, and I always remember this Sanskrit word because I think of the frog's name as Manduk. He is a duke. He's Manduk. So it's Mandukkasana, the frog. So the knees are wide. We're going to take your shins, the lower leg out even wider, flexing the feet, and you kind of feel like you're in a frog pose here. And the trick to this is we're going to engage those bandhas and we're going to bring the hips back. You feel that hip opener as you bring them back. And engage the bandhas and breathe. Find your gentle edge, never forcing. Remember, you can always come out of a pose early. Just be in resting pose. One more breath after this. And coming back forward. Beautiful job. And we're going to stay here on our knees and we're going to move into a nice low lunge. So I'm going to bring my right foot up between the hands and I'm going to bring the back knee back. Remember, you can always put a blanket under the knees at any time throughout your yoga practice if you don't have enough cushion or if your knees, you feel any kind of tension in your knee being down on the earth. And what we're going to do is we're going to sink those hips down in our lunge. Feel that beautiful hip opening on the left side. Engage the bandhas and breathe. One more breath here. And then we're going to take that right hand that was on the outer side of the foot into the inner side. So both hands are on the inside of this right foot. And we're in blaster pose now. And we can go a little bit deeper now. And we also have the opportunity to come down to our forearms. And you'll feel it in both hips. Find what works best for you and engage the bandhas and breathe. Bringing that love, acknowledgement, acceptance, kindness, forgiveness into your own self, your own precious heart. One more breath here. Coming back up on the hands, and we're going to move into our pigeon. So we're going to bend that right leg. Some keep it aligned with the front of the mat. I can never do that. The most important thing here is that our hips are suspended up in alignment. So we're not rolling over to one side or the other, but we're right here in alignment. And I actually feel the most sensation when I'm up here in this hip. If I go down onto my forearms, I don't feel the same opening on my hip. But some people really like to come down to their forearms. So find what works for you in your pose. I'm even going to come up into spider hands. So I'm even up a little higher. I feel it even a little more. And engage the bandhas and bring in the breath. And the self-love. Create a loving voice inside for yourself. Acknowledging you, appreciating you. Radical self-love. Praising you. Praising you for the simplest things. You're on the mat. You're breathing. You woke up this morning. One more breath. Beautiful. And bringing that hand back out wide as we come up. And we're going to go over to the other side. Do those 3 poses. We're going to begin with our lunge, Anjaneyasana. Remembering, you can bring that foot forward. You can bring the knee back a little bit. And then we're going to sink those hips down in towards the earth. Engaging the bandhas and breathe. One more breath here. Beautiful job. Then we're going to take this left hand that's on the outside of the left foot and bring it on the inside. Both hands on the inside and sink those hips even a little deeper. And you can come down onto the forearms if you want, or you can stay up. I'll do this just because I'm evening it out, but I do feel a lot of sensation either way. One more breath here. On the next inhale, coming up. And then we're going to take this front leg, and left leg now, and bend the knee and bringing it in front. And here I am in my pigeon. So we're remembering we're going to balance up so we are not dropping over to one side, balancing so we're nice and aligned and neutral. Those hips are aligned with the rest of the body. And we're going to engage the bandhas and breathe, gazing forward, or you can come down to your elbows and forearms. I feel a lot of sensation here, more than when I come down, so I'm going to stay here. When I'm in my spider grip, so I'm lifting myself up even a little higher so I can feel even more sensation in that right hip. One more breath here. Beautiful job. And then coming up. And let's move into a child's pose again, taking a few breaths and immersing ourselves with that self-love, those words of admiration, acknowledging our own self. And coming up on the inhale, bring those legs out in front. And let's move into a balancing bear and boat, just for the fun of it. This is kind of a floor hip opener. And so we'll move into balancing bear first. So we're going to balance, bring those heels, the knees are up, a little closer into the body. We're going to keep the right heel rooted on the earth. We're going to grab the outside of the left foot, open it up. Just feel the sensations, bringing it a little wider, finding your gentle edge. You can bring it in a little closer into the body. We're balancing on those sits bones. And one more breath here. Noticing the beautiful sensation in this leg and bringing it back. And we're going to root this left heel into the earth, our sits bones, and the heel, the left heel is going to be our foundation, what's connecting to the earth. Bringing your hand around the outside of the right foot and opening that up. And you can bring it out wider if you want. You can bring it in more if you like. You can bring it in towards the body, playing around with that leg just to create some nice sensation and stretch. Bringing your awareness into the leg and into the sensations. Keeping the breath flowing, bandhas engaged. One more breath here. Releasing that leg down. And we're going to have both heels on the earth, wrapping the hands around the outside of both legs and bringing them in a little closer to the body, closer to the body, closer to the body, till you feel yourself balancing really nice and solid on those sits bones. And then lift those heels up just a little bit and feel that balance on the sits bones, that nice balance. And then you can lift them up a little higher. And then if you like to just do one leg at a time, or you can take both out in your balancing bear. And if you can't do the full balance, just go back to the one leg at a time. And if you fall out, just come back in. Finding a drishti you can gaze at to help your balance, engaging the bandhas, and let's breathe. One more breath. Inhale, reaching, lengthening the spine. And exhale, bringing those legs back down. We're going to scoot to the front of the mat. And you can either just come down gently onto your back if spinal rocks don't work for you. I'm going to protect that spine and lower back. But if you like the spinal rocks, I've got a nice extra thick cushion here. It's John's yoga mat. I use his yoga mat. And you can bring the hands behind the knees and you can roll. Nice massage on the kidneys. That spinal muscle that goes alongside the spinal column called the rector spinae muscle. Nice massage. And this next time, just coming down onto your back. Beautiful job. And we're going to go into the supine pigeon, or 4 It's often called, because we make our legs look like a 4. So I'm going to take my right ankle, rest it just above the left knee. The knee is up. And then I'm going to lift that left foot off the earth, keeping that knee bent, and clasp my hands behind this nice hamstring muscle. It's better not to go behind the knee so much, but behind the hamstring in this. And the knee is okay, but the hamstring, it brings the body in a little bit better here. Pulling that leg in towards the body, this left leg, and feeling that nice hip opening on the right. Really bringing your awareness to those sensations, that opening and the body, and basking in that self-love. And one more breath here. And releasing that leg down. Enough breath so we can really allow that hip to open. And we're going to take the left ankle onto the right knee and lifting that right leg up, clasping your hand behind the right hamstring and pulling that gently in. Feeling the sensations in the left hip now as you engage those bandhas and bring in that prana. One more nice deep breath. And releasing. Beautiful job. And let's bring those legs up. Nice little inversion. Flex and extend the feet. Noticing the energetic shift as the legs come up. That nice vacation on the veins. And then if you can, move into your half shoulder stand. We're going to lift those hips up, grabbing at the small of the back. And we're going to try to have the feet so they're right above the head. You can look up and see them in half shoulder stand. Engaging the bandhas and breathe. And before we move into our plow, we've been practicing coming down. Let's come down to the side. Each side. Over to the side. Normally we've been coming straight down, and we can do that too. It comes straight down over the head. Well, there's a block. That's helpful. And then let's hinge over into plow. If your feet normally come right straight down to the earth, that's okay. I like to keep them parallel to protect this lower back. And engage and breathe. One more breath. And let's curl those knees into the chest. Make yourself into a little ball. Bring the hands down to the earth. and gently rolling down. And this is where we can move right into our fish, Matsyasana. You can extend the legs out, laying flat on your back. The palms of the hands are facing down towards the earth, and we're going to scoot one hand at a time under the buttocks. Then we're going to snuggle those arms really close in towards the body. Pressing into those elbows and forearms, we're going to lift the chest up to a nice back bend in the upper thoracics in the chest area. Relax the head and gently come down so you're resting on the crown of the head. And engage the bandhas and breathe in this nice back bend pose. Fish Matsyasana. One more breath. And next inhale, lifting up, straightening out, and coming down. Releasing those hands from under the buttocks, and let's bring the knees into the chest. So counter pose for the back bend is always forward fold. So we're bringing, as we move the back into extension, the counter pose is flexion. Bringing the knees to the chest, we flex. Beautiful job. And we're going to move into a nice knee down twist. I'm extending my left leg, coming up onto my left side just an inch. To bring that back to neutral. Taking the right knee over to the left. The left hand is guiding the right knee over. And the right hand is coming out 90 degrees. And I'm going to turn my head to bring a nice twist into the cervicals. Gazing out over the right fingertips. And bring a gentle engagement into those bandhas. And let's breathe into this nice deep twist. Feeling that love and appreciation, acknowledgement for our own selves. For the big things, but most of all those small things that we sometimes just overlook and take for granted. The fact that we're here, embodied in a human body, this courageous experience, something to acknowledge for ourselves. Beautiful job. One more breath. Releasing the leg, coming back onto our backs, and we're going to switch the legs. The right leg is out now, coming up onto my right side just an inch. Left leg coming over to the right hand guiding it over. And I'm going to bring the left arm out 90 degrees and gaze over those right fingertips. We're bringing a twist into the lumbar, thoracic, and cervical spines. We're also bringing some nice cleansing into the organs. We're wringing out like you would a towel. And you want to get all the water. So we're bringing new energy, detoxifying old energy throughout the body. Breathe and relax. Basking in self-love. One more breath here. And releasing the leg. Coming back to center. And let's bring those knees into the chest. And let's rock. Let's bring those feet together. Wrap our hands around. We're in Supta Baddha Konasana, supine butterfly. And gently pull those feet in towards the body and feel that hip opening. Feels so good. Engaging the bandhas and breathe. Noticing sensation, basking in self-love. Being that kindest space. Kindest voice. For our own self. And rocking back and forth a little bit. Here. And releasing those feet, bringing them wide apart. The knees are wide, the feet are wide. Soles of the feet are facing up to the sky. Hands are wrapped around the outer sides of the feet. And gently pulling those knees down towards the earth. Feeling again a nice hip opening. Engaging the bandhas, bringing in the prana and the self-love. And maybe rocking a little here. Couple rocks. And then moving right into your baby as you kick around and play with your legs. Do what feels good, just like you did when you were a baby. And any last pose you may want to do, your body's craving, or any last stretch or movement, now is the time. Move into some releases and savasana. As I get ready for my releases, I bring the feet hip width apart, knees are up. I'm resting flat on my back, it's relaxing. And I'm not going to lift anything up. I'm just going to begin to swivel the hips and swivel that sacrum in hula. So moving into hula, one hip will come up towards that armpit and ribs. The other hip is going to be reaching down towards the heel. And then we swivel and switch and bring the opposite one up towards the armpit and the other reaching down towards the heel. So you feel that nice swivel. Everything's resting on the earth. You can feel that pivot in the sacrum. It rests on the earth. And basking in the beautiful sensations of the hula as we release that lower back. Gentle breath. Bandhas are gently engaged. And one more on either side. And coming back to center. And we're going to move into hip pointers. So I'm going to root this right hip and butt cheek right into the earth as I lift the left and I point that left hip up towards the sky. It's going to be a little diagonal because we're adding a little twist. It's the only way to do it. And then releasing down, rooting the left hip and butt cheek into the earth as I point the right one up towards the sky, lifting the right butt cheek a little bit. So we're going to be lifting one butt cheek at a time, pointing that hip. Feel that line of energy pointing up. And at your own pace, nice, slow, repetitive movements as we release this lower back. And resting back in neutral. And we're going to move into cat-cow on our backs. So pressing the small of the back into the earth, feeling the tailbone tuck under. We're in our cat flexion. And then we're going to feel that back arch up off the earth. Our back may still be on the earth, but that spine is arching up. It's arching up off the earth. You may be able to put your hand underneath or maybe not, but you'll feel a nice arch as the tailbone sticking into the earth. That's our extension. You're moving back and forth at your own pace. Flexion and extension of the spine. Keeping the breath flowing. Basking in self-love and the beautiful sensations in the body. And coming back to center. And we're going to keep those knees up. We're going to walk those feet further and further apart from each other till they come out to the wide edges of the mat. And we're going to drop one knee at a time into the center. And find your edge, which is very gentle, never forcing. Noticing the beautiful sensations in your body and basking in self-love. Nice, gentle breaths. And one more time on each side. Coming back to center. Knees are up, and we're going to walk those feet together so they're touching. We're going to drop the knees over to one side or the other, both knees stacked, lifting the top leg, nice and slowly coming over to the other side. You may take a pause here, maybe not, and then allowing the bottom leg to come over till they're stacked over on the other side. And lifting the top leg, bringing it nice and gently over the other side. You may want to take a moment while they're both out just to feel that sensation. And then bringing the bottom knee up and over and continuing. And coming back to center. Let's bring the knees into the chest, rocking back and forth, releasing, final release of that lower back. And we'll move into Savasana, being in a nice, comfortable position. You may want to put socks on or slippers, a jacket, a blanket, maybe a bolster under the knees or an eye pillow. Find a nice, relaxed position. We're in Savasana pose. I like to take the feet a little wider apart and flop them out, the arms a little wider outside the body, palms up. A nice receptive pose. And breathing gently, letting go all effort. Let's take a moment to stretch the body out. Stretch the body out. You can even bring the hands out. Engaging all the muscles. And release. And one more time, engaging all the muscles, stretching out. Even the face and the toes and fingers, buttocks. And release. And find your comfortable Savasana pose. And relaxing and letting all tension melt away. Releasing all muscular holding. Letting everything go. Every muscle, every molecule, every cell in the body more and more relaxed, sinking deeper into the earth, body becoming more heavy, heavier. So you feel the body being drawn towards the earth in deep relaxation. And we'll rest into a few moments of silence to allow this entire practice to integrate into the body, mind, spirit, emotions, all aspects of our being, all the koshas, all the layers and sheaths of the body. Take a nice deep breath into the belly. Begin to slowly come back. Beginning to wiggle the fingers and toes, making some gentle movements with the body. Stretching out the arms and legs. Back into the body, fully embodied. And we're going to roll over to one side or the other. And taking a nice integrative breath here, noticing the shifts of energy in your body and the organs and fluids. When you're ready, coming up to a seated position, and we're going to move into our mindfulness meditation, and our focus is on sound. I'm going to have my bells here. So where our focus this week is on, our anchor is on noticing sound, which is one of my favorite anchors. I love, especially when I'm outside, hearing the wind in the trees and the chimes I have going, the birds chirping, the insects. It's a beautiful, beautiful anchor that brings you into presence. And so we're going to be listening to sounds, and I'm going to be bringing some adding a little gentle sound to your environment. We're going to sit in a comfortable position. You can have a hand mudra if you like. Chin is the finger and thumb. Fingers are relaxed out. Bikini, those are my two favorite. Connecting all the meridians and systems of the body, or closed circuit. And resting in silent meditation as you bring your single point of focus to the sounds around you in your environment, that which arises. You're like a sonar disc, just receiving the sounds. You're not actively going out looking for them, just noticing what sounds arise. When you hear the bells, you can remind yourself, if you've wandered off a little in thinking, to come back to listening as your single point of focus. Alert, aware. Nice deep breath into the belly. Coming back. And checking in again. Scanning the physical body. Noticing how it feels. Maybe any shifts from before we started practice. Diving into pratyahara, the inner aliveness, just scanning and noticing, maybe noticing any shifts. And the emotions, the manomaya kosha, and that ocean of emotion within you. Just with observing, neutral observer, basking in the felt sense of whatever is there arising. And maybe calm, maybe stirred up a little, maybe a soft, gentle emotion or a raging emotion. Whatever's there, just noticing with no judgment, not pushing anything away. And bring yourself back to that intention that you set at the beginning of practice, and taking a few moments to feel those emotional benefits from that intention fully manifested right here now. And we'll complete this practice with a namaste. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is of love, light, truth, and peace. When you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we are one. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for this hip opener and floor, mindfulness meditation. Wishing you a most beautiful and blessed day. Please check out ecstaticyoga.studio for more information on our yoga teacher trainings and retreats.